The overturning of Roe versus Wade and how it's affecting people right now in the DMV. Max Marcilla is live in Alexandria, Virginia, where the Supreme Court's ruling could affect the city's budget and how taxpayer dollars are spent. But first, let's get straight out to Mariel Carbone, who's joining us live in D.C. with a look at how this could shift the tide in midterm elections. Mariel, what can you tell us?
Well, voting is certainly top of mind for people who've been following this issue, and a political expert tells me that if the respective parties hone in on this issue in a meaningful way, we'll see that reflected come November in the polls.
I am sick and tired.
In the 5 days since Roe v. Wade was overturned, protesters and supporters have mobilized outside the Supreme Court.
Just shocking. It almost feels unbelievable.
But what's next?
It makes me want to vote more because it makes
Soon-to-be first-time voter Amelia Weismuller says heading to the polls.
me want to put like the right type of people as high as I can, you know?
She's not alone. According to a new NPR poll, 62% of registered voters say the Supreme Court ruling makes them more likely to vote in November's midterm elections. 78% of Democrats are motivated by the decision, and 54% of Republicans are.
Major decisions can absolutely affect what we call the calculus of voting.
Dr. Michael Romano is an associate professor of political science at Shenandoah University. He says the influence on voter turnout all depends on how successful each party's messaging is between now and November.
Most analysts will focus on the fact that the Democrats aren't in great shape, but this might help kind of stop some of the bleeding that we would expect to occur, because when abortion and when women's issues is on the ballot, they generally see a higher surge in voter mobilization.
Our governor is kind of putting more restrictions on the 15-week law.
For Virginia voter Jenny Salcini, SCOTUS returning abortion power to the states makes midterm voting essential.
Especially for local governors, because they're going to be defining the state laws.
And Romano says that this shouldn't just have an impact in November, but for years to come. If you think about it, it took 50 years to overturn Roe v. Wade, so it'll likely take decades for any other change to happen in this case. Reporting live from the Supreme Court, I'm Mariel Carbone.
Mariel, thank you. And happening right now, a meeting in Alexandria to decide if the city can use taxpayer money to help pay for abortions for some women who cannot afford them. Now,